Good morning, YouTubers. Welcome to my channel, Tiger Rose Rides. My name's Steve, as you probably already know, and today I'm going up to Portsdown Hill for two reasons. A, it's a lovely view all over Portsmouth, but B, I can also go through a bit of local history with you. And my question to you would be, where is Nelson's Column? Now, you're probably switched on, but actually it's here. The original one is here in Portsmouth on Portsdown Hill, and that's where I'm taking you now. I'm also going to show you around my bike. I was going to do that on the first one, but ran out of time. So one of the first things I will do is show you around my bike, tell you what's what and why is why. And up here on Portsdown Hill, there's so much history up here. I mean, we have 3 forts up here. There's a couple of places up here that are private business, so we won't mention them, but certainly, I mean, I don't know if you can see this as we're going past. Massive cannons or mortars. This is a mortar with a massive great stack of mortar shells, or balls, or for want of a better word. And the 3 forts we have up here are Fort Nelson, Fort Dudley, and Fort... oh, what's the other one? Hang on, I'll think of the other one in a minute. And we've just gone past this. Just gone past the monument. He's a clever lad. That's me talking and riding at the same time. I'll turn around and I'll come back on it. There's the Magpie, good morning. So I'm going to also cover some bike history. The firm I've chosen for today is Ariel Motors. I'm sure it's quite a familiar name to many of you, but I'm going to go through a bit of history just to educate those that don't know, and for those of you who do know, I'm just going to remind you. For those of you that watched my last video, thank you very much for liking it and subscribing. Hopefully this one will come up to par and be just as good, if not better. And then I can think about doing another one. If you've got a specific bike you would like me to cover, or bike firm you would like me to cover, just let me know. Right, let's turn around up here and go back to the monument. Bit of a tight one, that. There we go. So I don't know if you can actually see any of the scenery ahead of us. In the far distance is Southampton. Just to my left is Portsmouth, Hayling, Gosport, and a touch of Fareham you can see just at the bottom of the hill. It's a marvellous view. I'll show you some more when we get up the top, but for now I'm just going to go back to the monument and take you through it there. Oh, Mr. Magpie, out of the way. That's it. It's actually very cold today. I'm certainly not dressed for this ride. I do have a thin fleece on, but it's not cutting the mustard. Quite a nice view on this downslope. Okay, here we are. So what I'd like to do now is show you around my bike. Just this point here, the number on the tank, for those of you that own one of these will know, is the production number. Now this comes from when Royal Enfield supplied the British Army with their messenger bikes in the Second World War. And my granddad, when he was alive, bless him, remembers that in their unit they had several of these, or the predecessor to this one, within their unit to do exactly that, do a bit of messenger riding. So there we go, there's a link for me, so much so that I've dedicated my bike over after him. And this is him here, Lance Bombardier Bernard Hiscock, a desert rat, and all his friends used to call him Burren, so consequently the bike is called Burren. Don't know why they put TP28 on there. I know it's tyre pressure, but actually the tyre pressure is 32. There you go, let's confuse everybody. So let's start at the front. What have I done to the bike? As you can see, I put a headlamp hood on, or peak, or whatever you want to call it. I've got bar end mirrors, and they're great. Actually, I love bar end mirrors. They give you so much more visibility behind you. This here, where is it? There it is. That little bell was given to me by my other son, and it's supposed to ward off road spirits, the nasty road spirits. It's got a little tinkle, and the idea is, and it goes back quite a while, folklore and all that, that the ringing scares the spirits, and they don't go anywhere near the bike. Now, as you know, my site is called Tiger Rose Rides, and this is where I get the name from. This is my first regiment. I spent 18 years in the Royal Hampshires, and as you can see, there's a tiger and a rose, the Hampshire Rose, and the tiger signifies 21 years of unbroken service in Africa. No, sorry, India. Silly me. And so I took those two elements from my cat badge and put them in the name. You can see I've put engine guards on, I've put sump guard on. Pretty obviously I've put the pannier bags on. Trying to keep a bit traditional here. These are the type of bags they would have had back in the Second World War. Normal D-strap kind of configuration there. There you can see my actual cat badge. And as my grandfather was artillery, there's his badge there. He was all horse artillery. He used to tell me loads and loads of jokes about the Second World War. And one that I remember particularly, I don't know if his is an original joke or whether or not he got it from someone else, but he told me that he was at the D-Day landings, and apparently he wasn't actually in the battle, he was camping in the field next door and went to complain about the noise. It made me laugh, so yeah, hey. So there it is, there's my bike. I absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. It's such a nice thing to ride. Now, I don't have much experience with my bikes, as you know. I only passed my test recently, if you watched my previous video, but the fun I'm having on this is immense. Let that car go past. So there's Burren, and what a beauty he is. So, as I said earlier, if I was to ask you where Nelson's Column was, you'd probably say Trafalgar Square. Hands up all those that did. But the first ever Nelson's Column was built right here on Portsdown Hill. And there is the monster. All the way up there. I'm going to get my drone out in a minute and try and get some footage of it. There'll probably be some Karen come along and say, I can't do that. I can. It's huge. Now, this is built roughly around about 1807, 1808. And it is, if I can zoom in on that, there we go, you can read that. Consecrated in the memory of Lord Viscount Nelson by the zealous attachment of all those who fought at Trafalgar to perpetuate his triumph and their regret. No, can't really go. Let me take you up to the fence. Much easier. Unfortunately, you can't get in, so the best we can do is look at it from here. I'm not surprised it's got this fence around it, because it would be vandalised within a short time. So I'm going to get my drone out and see what we can do. The monument was built in 1807 to 1808, funded by donations of 2 days' pay from all who served at the Battle of Trafalgar and from the Royal Navy prize money. The fund of £3,000 was administered by Captain Thomas Fremantle of the Royal Navy, and the architect was John Groves, who based the design on the 4th century obelisk in the city of Axum in Ethiopia. Nelson's monument, alas, had to be replaced in 1899. I can only assume poor building materials. But the bust of Nelson is the original one. Staring out over the harbour he knew so well, it is visible from the Isle of Wight across the waters of the Solent. And ships can still plot their position in the Solent by it. All in all, a fantastic monument to a really historic man and navy. So it stays there a long, long time. So, that's the history segment for this week. Let's talk bikes. I've got my visor down, there's a lot of bugs here. The bike I want to talk about this week is Ariel Motors. They were formed around 1870, and in the beginning their main produce was the light-framed penny farthing bike. It was called the Ariel Ordinary, and the word Ariel means spirit of the air, and it became so popular that they named the company Ariel and adopted the name for their factory. They continued push bike and sewing machine production and merged with Westwood Manufacturing in 1896. Within 2 years, they had started making the powered tricycle in 1898. It had a 2.25 horsepower Didion engine, and before long it was also introduced the motorised quadricycles. The first motorcycle was launched in 1901, fitted with a Minerva engine, and was appropriately called the Ariel Minerva. This was followed in 1902 by the first Ariel car, featuring a 10 horsepower twin-cylinder engine. Excuse me. Ariel used a variety of engines: Jap, Mag, White & Pope, Simplex and AKD V-twins. Ariel motorcycle production increased through the early 20th century, but car development was halted during World War I as production was moved to producing motorcycles for army dispatch riders. They also stopped the development of the bikes, so post-war motorcycles were very much the same as the pre-war models. Post-World War I, a staggering rate of development occurred. Legendary engineer Val Page designed new engines, and the Black Ariel's motorbike was born, and was produced from 1926 to 1930. The production of these motorcycles required new production techniques and a modernisation of the factory. The Iron Horse legend was born, and various feats dreamed up by Ariel sales manager Vic Mole were achieved, such as riding 10,000 miles without stopping at all, climbing Mount Snowdon on the bike, and crossing the English Channel on the bike. Acknowledged as one of the most beautiful bikes of its time, the Red Hunter appeared in 1932 and thus set the style for Ariel. With a 500cc 4 overhead valve engine, the bike spawned both 250 and 350cc versions. As well as competition success during the 1930s, in September 1939, a Red Hunter earned the Brooklands Gold Star, lapping at over 101 miles per hour. Just before Ariel once again turned production over entirely to military motorcycles, over 30,350 WNG models were produced over the following 5 years. Ariel went on to produce many beautiful models and achieve great prowess and fame in speed trials, racing forums and designs. In 1951, BSA bought out Ariel but still maintained the Ariel name on their bikes, and in 1954 produced the ever popular KHA. In 1959, Ariel dropped its 4-stroke engines and produced Ariel Leaders, a fully enclosed 250cc 2-stroke with a full fairing body from the headlamp back. In 1965, Ariel finally produced its last motorcycle, known as the Arrow 200. With a capacity reduced to 200cc, it introduced earlier during 1964 to qualify for lower UK rider insurance. Ariel motorcycles ceased production in 1967. But, and this is a very big but, there are still bikes being produced with the Ariel name under the brand of BSA. The name Ariel became synonymous with manufacturing Ariel Atom, which most petrol heads these days are familiar with, I'm sure. So, that sums up this week's bike. I hope there was some interest there for you all. All of this history is online and more. This is just a brief summary for you. If there's a specific bike brand you would like me to cover, just let me know and I'll do what I can.
So, I'm going to leave it there. I'll hopefully get this posted on Wednesday. Take care, ride safe, and I'll see you next time.